So there are always these moments in my life where I just sit there and think, you've really done it this time, Lauren. You have gone way too far outside the norm of what is acceptable to say or do, and you've ruined your life. You've ruined your life this time. And I certainly felt that way when I first went into kind of political commentary and went to the slut walks challenging feminists on their views and had this giant disavowal campaign unleashed on me. Petitions to get me kicked out of my party, people contacting my work. But look what happened. Fast forward 3 years and criticism of feminism is so normal. You've got the biggest channels on YouTube, like H3H3 and PewDiePie, doing their own critiques of the wage gap and other crazy feminist philosophies. Even the president was stumping feminists on his whole campaign trail. I like to think that a lot of my older videos, the opinions there have been sort of normalized through a combined effort of people willing to speak up, also because they're valid opinions, and you aren't such a pariah anymore if you espouse views that are deemed a little right-wing, at least outside of crazy college classrooms. But one thing I never really expected culture and politics to catch up with me on was my shenanigans in the Mediterranean. I expected, at least for the next 10 years, to be eternally disavowed by politicians, eternally have the mainstream right turn their back on me for this, and to be eternally slammed by the public. For those of you who don't know what I mean by my shenanigans in the Mediterranean, to give you a quick rundown of what happened, back in the summer of 2017, a group called Generation Identity held a campaign to protest NGO boats colluding with traffickers and sneaking illegal immigrants into Sicily and I guess all over Europe. I went with them on a little protest they held in a boat against a ship called the Aquarius, which had been trafficking thousands of illegals into the port of Sicily. Now, that doesn't sound so bad, but the issue here is these ships had been portrayed in the media as helping and saving drowning refugees. And of course, the media completely neglected the research by both the UN and the EU, which confirmed Generation Identity's position that these were economic illegal migrants from non-refugee nations that were being trafficked and not saved. So the public did not take this protest too well. In fact, I would say they took it a lot less than well, because to this day, I am still accused repeatedly of drowning, murdering, and shooting refugees because of this event. And I'm not just talking from the random account on Twitter here and there. We're talking blue, verified checkmark liberals and posts with hundreds of upvotes and even newspapers accusing me of these horrendous acts. Lauren Southern was banned from Britain because she is a far-right extremist who tried to murder refugees with a flare gun. Lauren Southern, a terrorist who fired a flare gun at a refugee boat. BC white supremacist who went from the rebel to trying to kill drowning Mediterranean refugees. She was arrested for firing flares at refugee boats. Lauren Southern tried to actively kill refugees, and Reuben Report is trying to get her Patreon reinstated. He is Nazi effing trash. Yes, those Jewish Nazis at it again. And one of my favorite articles or pieces of criticism that came out is this Italian paper which accused the Defend Europe mission of torpedoing NGOs. After seeing all of these posts and tweets, you're probably thinking, Lauren, you're leaving something out here. What is this flare they're talking about? You clearly can't have just been protesting this boat without even touching it or going near it. So I suppose it's about time I address the flare question. When we went to go film the Aquarius protest, it was daytime. The Aquarius ended up being delayed by hours and hours and hours as we were sitting in this little speedboat waiting, and I realized at some point that I was not going to be able to get anything on film without some light. And that would be a huge waste of flights, days of organization, and just the whole thing would be a flop. So I decided to grab the handheld flare from inside the boat, which doesn't fire anywhere, it doesn't shoot, it doesn't set things ablaze. It was just for light. Most boats have it in it, and I lit it up when we were sailing past so we could get the shot for YouTube. It's not that interesting of a story. That's literally all that happened. And I've explained it a million times on Twitter and explained it to any person who has cared to listen to my explanation. But it didn't seem like that included any of the left-wing media, especially not Will Sommer, who tweeted out this completely unsubstantiated hot take which started the whole mess. The media and the left were so desperate to turn me into a monster that I even had the Associated Press calling me for the next few weeks, asking to confirm whether or not I was shooting drowning migrants. No one does that. I don't want to kill anyone. I just want people to not cross borders illegally. You know, obey the freaking law that every nation in the world applies. It is not that crazy of a position. Anyways, this whole event has stuck with me for a while now, and it has always brought me a lot of controversy. But this last month has been a damn good month for me, because it has been a damn good month for vindication. Because that same boat, the Aquarius, that GI held the protest against last year, which I filmed, was just recently denied by the Italian government. Italy's Interior Minister, Matteo Salvini, blocked the ship from docking at its ports, saying, "From today, Italy will start to say no to human trafficking and no to the business of illegal immigration." I didn't even stop the boat. GI didn't stop the boat. We didn't touch it. And the Italian government is doing exactly that. And what are you guys going to do? Are you going to call the government enforcing its laws terrorists? Are you going to call them refugee drowners? No, no one in the left-wing mainstream press is going to do that, because what they're doing is completely rational and what any nation should be doing with its borders. And it just feels so damn good to think, I don't have to do this crazy stuff anymore because the government has decided to start enforcing its laws. And the vindication train doesn't just stop there. Just a few days ago, I stumbled across an article on Breitbart stating 42 MPs of the anti-mass migration alternative for Germany have put their names behind an initiative to bring criminal charges of people trafficking against German migrant transport NGOs, which they say must be stopped. According to the release, the MPs were first made aware of the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean by the identitarian movement's Defend Europe mission last year, and cited the reporting of Canadian journalist Lauren Southern, who was banned from entering the UK earlier this year. Germany is the last country in Europe still keeping its borders open to mass illegal immigration. The activity of these radical left-wing NGOs offers an incentive for illegal migrants to risk their lives on the Mediterranean in unseaworthy crafts, and this must be stopped. We urge the Maltese government to arrest the crews of the CI, Sea-Watch, and Lifeline and impound their vessels while we are filing criminal charges in Germany for human trafficking. It is the only way to put a stop to illegal immigration and to prevent more people from drowning. This is exactly what GI and I were saying last year. This is exactly the message that we were stating, yet people were calling us crazy. And now the government is confirming it, the statistics confirm it, and now action is being made. This was completely and utterly worth it. It was completely worth being called a terrorist for over a year by both left-wing and right-wingers. It was worth all of the hit pieces from Hope Not Hate. It was worth getting kicked off Patreon. It was worth all of the crap I got from the morons who believe the first thing they read online. I don't care because it made actual change, even if me and my friends were slandered repeatedly. This is a complete and total white pill. I know I always talk about dark days ahead, but hell, politicians are watching independent journalists and seeing what's going on in the world and then actively trying to make change because of that. Maybe alternative channels like mine and others don't get as many views as the BBC or CNN. We don't have the same budgets. We don't have our own George Soros. But independent journalism is thriving and making change regardless of all of that. And it shall continue to do that, not just through me, but through all of the independent creators you guys support and share. It is absolutely a team effort. I can't thank you guys enough for being there from the start, even when I looked like the mad woman firing flares at boats, and even when all of those accusations were flying around. And I guess just thank you for sticking around until this vindication came out. It means a lot to me. And I really hope that we will see a similar impact with independent journalism, maybe even with things like farmlands. Hopefully that will influence some policy worldwide. Who knows? But yeah, the outpouring of support overall has been amazing, despite all of the slander I've received over these last few years. So I hope you guys enjoyed that weekend white pill, and I will see you next time.